Howdy, howdy, howdy. So I got a box, a strange box, not that strange. Friend Dane, we were rapping at one point while I was painting something. We were talking about Death Guard models, about how I very much enjoyed the bug-headed one, about how much he wasn't a big fan. So he said he'd send me it, and here's a box. And it's definitely from his neck of the woods. Hopefully, this isn't one of those streams where I open this up and it's full of, anthrax or something. But it is time to open the box. I'm very excited and very thankful. It's a very nice gesture on your part. So now let's see carefully how well packed this is. This came from across the sea. There he is. It's an excellent build of him too, man. He's got like two of the really cool weapons on him. He's already primed. He's looking good. He's looking really good. He's gonna be fun to paint. Even the pauldrons are some man. You gave me a lot of good pieces on this, buddy. Pauldrons are two of the really nice ones. The weapons are great. The bug head is awesome. Set him aside. Let me make sure there's not anything else hiding in here just to be safe. Awesome. Thank you very much, my friend. You made my life a heck of a lot easier. Now I can actually zoom this in because I don't have this big box here. Meow. Meow. So, I got a model. I should paint him. I also have this guy pretty close to prepped. This fetid bloat drone. I tried to magnetize them, but the parts just didn't stretch the right way, and I would have to drill a hole through here. it shipped very nicely, so that was very very much appreciated. I don't think I might paint a little bit of this guy tonight too, but I think he's going to be stuck with one set of weapons in that first incarnation. I also made him a nice base. It looks like it's made out. Got some concrete pillars in it. I guess I gotta find me. Thank you very much, Dane. Very, very nice of you. I gotta find me some colors. I think, if I remember correct, I can probably get away with Deathward Forest on some of this guy. And then I need Wraithbone to start the rest of this. It's out here. There's my Wraithbone. I don't think I actually own. I actually own Death Guard Green outside of the primer, but I've used Deathworld Forest as a base, and then I'm going to grime over it. My slimy grime dark, which I got to tell you, I ordered more of this stuff because I absolutely love it. This bowl, that's where I keep my slimy grime dark. So let's get a brush and get popping. Bone it is. Get a little bit of water on this thing. So I got another little doohickey today that I ordered on Amazon. I'm pretty psyched about. Let me see if I just peel this up a little bit. Get some more water under there. There we go. I got a very cheap version of one of those ultrasonic jewelry washer things. I throw my brushes in it with a little bit of Dawn dish soap. And it is, some of these brushes are in pretty roughneck shape, but it did appear to breathe a little bit more life into them. So that was a neat find. Oh man. I don't know, man. I love this head. I do agree that it feels a little bit weird on a Plague Marine. I feel like a bug head on one of the more big, crazy, sinister models might have been a better jam models wise, but I like it. Oh, you know what else I can do? This is a treat. A model that actually fits on a stand. Save my arms. Ooh, good living. Good living. Primed in black, so I have to get every last screaming millimeter of this model covered. It should be good. All right, so what I'm going to do is a wraith bone base on the feet, the shins, and the thighs. We'll skip the knees. The knees will get green. The chest and pauldrons will get green somewhat. This guy's got a wild face on that side. It's really cool. And these plates on the front, I gotta pay attention when I'm actually holding this stuff again. These will get white as well. And then after they're all nice and whited up, and these are gonna need 2 coats. Then I'll hit them with Seraphim Sepia. Then we'll truly be in business. He's got grenades on his belt. This is a really solid mix of parts. He really went all out. This is gonna be a treat. Like 2 really awesome weapons. I love this spiked mace and this axe, this cleaver. It's just a classic. Get in here. Hit him with his first coat. 2 thin coats, much better than 1 thick coat, for sure. And I don't need to go crazy on the edges here because those will get Warplock Bronze, my other favorites. Yeah, this guy's cool. So many good details on here. And shipped across the ocean. Go stand up guy you are. A little bit thin on this paint, especially doing white over black. So I'm thicken it up just a tad. Get in here, fix my glasses. So I'm getting this boot. I'm also excited to base this guy because I've got a lot more basing stuff, and I learned a heck of a lot about basing doing that diorama. So now, I feel like I can fully unleash what little potential I have in the basing arena. I may switch back and forth. It may make sense with doing multiple coats that my bloat drone's going to get some of the same treatment this guy does so that everybody is happy in the little army. Let's get in here. He's got all kinds of cool stuff going on. He's got bags all over the belt. He's got 3 or 4 grenades. He's got a knife bandoliered up. Dude, I still gotta order you a mug. And I owe you like a special title on Discord. I'll get around to doing admin stuff. I'll set that up. And this sort of tentacly thing, I'm not worried about hitting too much because that's going to need to come up from black no matter what. So a little bit of, you know what, I'm actually going to hit it. Coming up from black is going to be really tough. Making that look fleshy. Or like a horn, one way or the other. I like to imagine that at some point this model went underground and traveled by tiny train somewhere in London. Wishful thinking. Headcanon, if you will. I am now reading End in the Death, Part 2. Pretty spicy. I haven't started writing a script yet, but I'm definitely doing a lore video on Part 1 and 2 in anticipation of Part 3 sometime next year. Seeing how it all goes down. Pretty wild. Yeah, this tentacle too. I'm going to want something fleshy to start with that tentacle. So just getting it, probably only tentacles only need like one coat going over the black. They're probably getting Gilliman flesh. Man, I missed you, Death Guard. So many other things lately. The diorama was all Necrons. Had that Chaplain. My Mortarion was a decided departure from. I painted the rest of my army. All right, these 3 plates up here. I do have to be very cognizant of where I'm throwing this camera. These guys look good. I think they looked better green last time I did this. I'll hold back on those guys. Maybe do this whole plate as green. I think that'll be cool. Just hit these bracers. I mean, what an absolute treat to have this guy all put together very nicely, mind you, and primed already. It's like finished putting kids to bed, sat down, opened a box, and ready to paint. Quite the service. I'm gonna get his elbows too. Those pauldrons are pretty massive. I don't need that much green up here. I need more white. Oh, we're in that phase, man. In that phase where it always looks squirrely. First base coat over your prime. Not pretty. Get his hand. There we go. That's better. Get his glove nicely done. This guy. All up in here. Yeah, so I had to focus and refocus. I throw a little bit more warning out before I do that. Someday I'll just have 2 cameras, one for a short shot, one for a long shot. There we go. Cover up that bracer nicely. All in here, be inside, underneath that. And we need this thigh also. This guy has so much detail on him. It's crazy. I love it. So much detail. Take my time. I don't have to worry too much if it hits that cloak. I should probably actually hit a little bit of that cloak with some of this. Just get some highlights on it before I redden it up. Just get down the side of that. Front. Christmas is a good time. You are too good to me, my friend. Too good to me. Alright, so I'm in there. I'm all up in there. Got that piece. Got around here. A little bit of a messy edge there. Is it going to hit anything else? I think I'm going to keep his helmet green because he's such a bug. Alright, I'll hit this horn. Sticks out of the pauldron. That's good stuff. We know that's going to get lightened up a lot. We'll also probably need 2 coats. All that stuff's going to be brown. We're in pretty good shape for this one pass. Quickly get the teeth on this thing. That's right, Pauldron's got teeth and little sort of clawish things. Get them a little bit to get them started. Go. I think get the edge of this cloak over here. I think that's pretty good for now. We'll need another coat. I think I can let that guy dry a little bit. I think I'm going to leave this pot open. Go back and forth between it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just stick with this guy. Probably gonna dry quick. I think if I go back and forth in this, probably gonna make a mess. And optimally with this guy, I get him on his base, and then I can hold up him in a handle too. So yeah, I'm just gonna stick with Mr. Bugman. Bugman's best. So in doing that, I wonder how quickly this will dry. I might be able to get right back into it. Oh yeah, yep, that second coat's just going on fine. Making everything better. Out a little bit. Drink. Now we're talking. Front of that shoe. There. Yeah, and then I can just let this dry while I hit the green stuff elsewhere. Yeah, that's doing fine. I was a little worried it would be too wet to hit it with the second coat, but especially with the wash this is going to get, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. There's a couple little sneaky spots I might not have gotten. Those two. Always that bottom edge of the shoe, the boot. A little tough to find. Gauntlet. Bracer. Yeah, it's funny. I saw my parents. My parents came up Saturday, which was awesome because I don't get to see them as much as I'd like. It's just because of schedules. They only live like 90 minutes down the road. I got a lot on my plate right now, which means they don't get to see their grandkids all that often. Not as often as we'd like. They've also been busy too. I'm not just a bad son. They've been taking vacations and stuff, which they should because they're retired. Anywho, funny because as my parents were leaving, my mom was like, I guess we'll see you Christmas Eve. I was like, yeah, it is the next time I'm going to see you, most likely. I might see my dad before that. You know, trying to schedule a one-night casino trip for some point. Should have done this last week. It was just too hard to get the schedules to line up. But that whole thought of like, oh, see you Christmas Eve, it's like, man, it's just Halloween. But I am ready for Christmas already. Thanksgiving's nice. Not the biggest fan of Thanksgiving. It's neat because I like to eat and I like to cook. I don't put that much faith in. I don't have crazy memories of Thanksgiving. Growing up, Christmas I like, Halloween I absolutely adore. All right, in there. All right, now I can. That is good enough. Government work. Clean this brush up. Put in that sonic thing, but it's noisy. It's the only catch. I would keep it right here in my workspace. But it's like, runs for like 3 minutes. I wonder if it makes sound in the background. What rules do I use for my death guard? I will tell you in a second. I'm going to get up and put this thing in this buzzing thing over here, and you let me know if you can hear it in the background. Do you hear that weird sound in the background? I gotta wait for the full loop of us coming around to happen. I'm just morbidly curious. I'm looking at my levels and I don't see it. That would be interesting if this mic didn't actually pick that up. It'd be really interesting. Sweet. You do hear it. Okay, good. I'll turn it off. C'est la vie. Anyway, as far as rules that I use for my Death Guard, you mean as far as playing on tabletop? Or rules as far as painting them? I think you mean actual rules, right? As far as tabletop goes, basically I'm just using straight up 10th edition stuff. Yeah. So the only format I've played in has been very, very introductory as far as objective rules and stuff. And I'm hoping the next time that I play, we'll sort of open things up and use an objective deck. I haven't done that before. I am used to mainly just control point stuff, just scoring straight up points, end of round, based on who has control points. I've only just gotten started, so that's all I've done so far. But I like the idea of like secondaries and all that kind of stuff. I haven't actually done it. I'm very familiar with those rules because I've watched enough play to get reasonably familiar with it. I'm not really too afraid of getting swamped by it. If my Death Guard are gonna die, they're gonna die. That's the way I see it. But no, I've played pretty simple 10th edition, like all stratagems, that are appropriate in play. I haven't used them all yet. Mainly just board control stuff. Brush is long, but I like it. Yeah, I'm old. I print stuff out, man. I print stuff out. I do have the app going that I occasionally use a little bit, but I'll show you what I use. This is going to sound super archaic. But this is the bottom tray in my carrying case. It has got data sheets printed out, prices, the manual. So, yes, I do realize all of that can exist on your phone, but being able to, when you really are just getting used to stuff for the first time, being able to lay everything out, or at least a lot of stuff out, and leave it out, I find that to be very, very helpful. So I just have on a chair next to me while I'm playing, I got, critical information in front of me. I need to know 24/7 what the heck Typhus does over and over and over and over again. Not what he does, but like the math behind it. Um, and then as my guys get murdered, which happens pretty quickly, I just put those sheets away. I don't need them anymore. It's all right if I get a little green on there. But yeah, for now, I've just found it really helpful to have some stuff just totally at command. But as far as the points go, I just use the app. Most of what we do is like, hey, let's just get you an upgrade. Yeah, it's interesting because just like army formation is very dependent where I play, like on who shows up. Because we'll play like a four-way game just to get people in. Cause it's literally a beginners club. Like there's a couple guys there that know how to play. Um, but then it's open for people to show up. So like if there's a total of four people, we'll just be like, okay, everyone put together a 500-point army with what you got right now. And in that regard, using an app is pretty nice. Yeah, then when it's on, I like big print, not because I'm blind, but like um, to leave several data sheets out there in the open to refer to is pretty sweet. And I mean, eventually over time, I will memorize enough of it where I'll only have to look back every so often. There. So what I'm starting to like about what is it, Death Forest, Death World Forest, yeah. As I haven't always used this as like a base coat for my greens on my Death Guard, but now that I basically always do a combination of some green back, either Death Guard backing it up, Death Guard green, um, either as a primer or not. The fact that I go to this much darker slimy grime dark, having a slightly, I won't say brownish, but almost tannish green as a base works really, really well. And then dry brushing with Old Faithful now. I love this stuff. Nurgling green, top of the world, man. That's good stuff. Getting through there. Yeah. The and I feel like the stratagems are probably going to be the first thing that I end up legit memorizing because I'm not going to use every last one of them. But the details matter, and if you get used to using some stratagem on a specific unit, you kind of start shorthanding it. Like I was looking at tank shock the other day. I think it's called tank shock, and it's like it's actually dependent on I think the melee damage that the actual vehicle does. It's pretty interesting. But I think because it sort of defaults in a lot of cases to a 4 or a 6 on some units, you can sort of catch yourself needing to go back and refresh when you use it on a new unit. Lots of stuff like that. But the data cards for the actual like units themselves, like I desperately, I would feel very naked without them. I feel woefully unprepared with them. Without them, I'd be like in the dark. buddy. You're getting buggier and buggier. I like it. Yes, only if you can afford it. So I've always got like a D6 next to my pile of sheets, letting me know how many command points I've got lying around. And I do like that part of the game a lot. Like, it allows you to modify the purely dice rolly outcomes a bit in a lot of cases. It allows you to put a little bit more emphasis on a certain attack or movement, but not for free. Stuff like that I absolutely love in game design of like command points are a very prized resource and they can make or break things. And for me as a new player, I'm always like cognizant of the fact that in a lot of cases where I think I'm going to do well and I do poorly, it's because someone else is planning with a stratagem in mind and it's not front of mind for me. So I sort of walk into it, which is a little bit of the reason that I like Battle Shock and I like a Plague Burst Crawler that can at least force a lot of Battle Shock rolls. Because against someone who knows what they're doing, it's actually very valuable to me to just not have them be able to use command points on a specific unit. Makes my life safer because I know less about what I'm doing. But it's not like I'm running 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. I've only got the one of them, but I do think about getting more. Also because I just love the model. The model's so dope. A little bit of green in here. I gotta get underneath that at some point. Rotating this guy around and finding more bits I haven't hit. We're going to hit this face. This lovely, lovely face. This whole pauldron, with the exception of like the tongue, mouth. This thing is just beautiful. It takes very well to dry brushing as well. Oh dear. Too generous, man. I appreciate it. You don't have to get me anything. Sure as heck not going to send anything back either, but oh, dude, you keep me company while I'm painting. You are my homie. See pretty quickly, and I'll show you in a second, that like I'm pretty sure outside of like world eaters, maybe some chaos stuff. Focus like that's just a pauldron you get to pick to put on that dude. Like that is just great looking, absolutely crazy. Like as opposed to yeah, here we go. This is my side by side. This solidifies my point. I'm doing this chaplain the other day, like, ain't nothing on there. What I'm used to is like that level of detail on a pauldron. My blessed Death Guard. It really is quite cool. Cool, cool, cool. We're gonna sneak in back here, green this up. Once again, if I hit his belt, no biggie. That brown that's going over it is gonna take care of business. Excuse me. There we go. Just get in there nice. We'll green up this other pauldron and get in back here. You can hide from me, buddy. guy is like a spider face, which its recesses aren't as deep as the sort of demon face on the other side, so this actually does take a little bit of color and finesse eventually to get it to stand out. Like I'm going to hit those eyes with, I was going to say red because I normally do red, but because this guy is Mr. Bugman, Mr. Bughead, I'm going to do something fun with his eyes, and whatever I do with his eyes, I'm going to do with this pauldron's eyes and that pauldron's eyes. There'll be some mixture. It's probably going to have some yellow in it. It'll either be yellow and red, or maybe yellow and green, or maybe yellow and blue, but something shiny, multi-coat kind of jam. Is that brain matter sticking out of there? I think it is. Shouldn't paint that green. I screwed that up on the other model with this head that I have. You can find things out after the fact. All right, so I've gotten inside there. Get inside there a little bit better. His head. Gotten the sections back here on his backpack that I think I need. The rest is metal. That's leather and metal. That's a tongue. That's a weapon. Check them out from the front. Inside edge of the sneaky pauldron. And this may get metallicized later, but we don't want to just have it look half painted. That we're not about. In fact, I should go over this icon thing, this triple icon thing. The skulls on it will obviously get past a white, but there's no reason to leave that thing black. Alright, he is reasonably well greened up. I do have a whole section of a kneecap. Every time I open my mouth, I'm like, hey, he's close to done. It's like, yeah, and I see this whole black kneecap thing sitting in here, just chilling. Now we're getting close. Very cool model. Paint on the end of this. All right, so I'm hoping that the whites on here are dry enough. Even if they're not, it's fine. I'm gonna lay in on this guy with some Seraphim Sepia so it's not screaming white toddler paint. Something always scary about white on black. It's never gonna look good until you've like, unless you're doing a supremely like strong coat, strong lines, but just sort of slathering it on. Always looks a little creepy for a bit. I'm tempted to use umber wash, but I'm not gonna. I'm stick with the plan. Where is the Seraphim Sepia? The chosen one. I might have to order more of this too. I am almost out of Astro Granite, which is funny. I used like the very last of it up, almost on that thing. It's a point of pride now to be like almost out of my first pot of some of the colors that I've used. It's pretty neat. So getting this wash on, don't have to hit that tentacle. It'll take a bit for this to cure in, but it'll give me a much closer sense of the actual color that this is going to be here. And that'll be helpful going forward. It's good to just get this part out of the way. It's going to be much closer to like a brownish, a light brownish yellow. Having a lot of white in your face does actually affect how you see a bunch of other colors. So sort of tamping that down a little bit right now before it gets out of hand. Make it easier for me to make calls in the moment on some of the other colors. And it's not like I'm doing crazy coloration on this thing. It's a Death Guard, like it's pretty grim stuff. But one of the things I've just found is that getting to a wash phase. Some of your big sections, even if you end up having to come back to it later again, it also just makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're doing something that's going to look good in the end. I can only tolerate so much time staring at it with this like chalky white wraith bone without at least making an attempt. I can hit this horn here too. I increasingly get more faith in the future of the paint job that will cure in, but my faith is not unshakable. You know what? He's got teeth on him. I'm gonna hit those. Hit those guys. But yeah, it's I don't know. The wash is just spiritually helpful. Makes you feel like you're doing good work. And just I'm all for like delayed gratification. I don't have to delay it that much. I have to start looking like something. The whole painting thing is largely an act of faith. Gently with them teethers. Oh, this brush is so jacked up, buddy. You've done so much work for me. I'll put you to bed soon. You poor guy. Play taps for him. Just the tiniest bit. Each little teefer. And it may be time to, yeah, I mean, you can already see with that wash on there, like it's starting to look more coherent. It'll need more wash at some point. It'll need a darker one. I may end up hitting like between the fingers with like Mortarian grime or something with a little bit more color to it. But yeah, here we go. Much better. And then these little skulls. Just need a little dab, buddy. Buddy, buddy, buddy. Little skulls. All right. Got a wash on. I could start considering. Let's start considering metallics right now. To TBH. I do have a decent chunk of them to do. The dark zone here. All in a mess. You're out here somewhere. Are you out here somewhere? No, you're not, because I haven't painted Death Guard in 50 years. I need my Warclock bronze. There we go. Warclock bronze. For all your super dark metallic needs. I like this stuff. Apparently, I like it a lot. I use it all the time. Don't use Balthasar Gold. Don't use any of the other bronzes. And this one is heavy-handed. But it's dark, and it's got... I don't know if you can tell this by looking at it on camera. No, it just looks like a pile of darkness. It's a bit red. It's got a little bit of a deep red to it. And it's not just that I'm Italian, but when you've got green and white, and they're very drab, adding a little red in the mix, not the worst idea. Not the worst idea at all. All right, so any iconography up here. Just thin this out a little bit. Make sure my overlords appreciate the lessons I've learned. Of course, if I thin it up too much. Oh man, I am low on that stuff too. I'm low on everything. I painted a whole Death Guard army using the same 4 colors. 6 really. 4. All right, so let's see if the camera actually captures this a bit. But like the redness in that paint is not overt. It's not overt at all. But it keeps things nice and dark. You don't really have to hit it with a wash afterwards to tamp it down. Like even with like lead belcher, which is not the brightest thing in the world, which I will use on some parts of this, I always hit lead belcher with a black wash. So it starts looking oily. I find that Warplock bronze just naturally has an unsavory, unholy look about it. Like your grandmother's probably not going to wear a piece of jewelry made out of Warplock bronze. Of course, all the Death Guard iconography is just terrible on brushes. It's like just run your brush over all these spikes over and over and over again. But as you can see, it's got a metallic shine, but it's super dark. It's unholy looking. Pretty cool. All right, continuing right along this Warplock business. I'm just going to dab a little bit, if my vision holds up, around these skulls on this icon on his chest. Oh, yeah, I just totally rocked him out. Painted over those guys a little bit. That might not be something I can immediately repair. What do I care if I gotta go back over it in white? Oh, they're popping back out. Look at that. Oh my gosh, Warplock bronze, you're amazing. Self-healing paint. Just a dab of water. Oh, this guy's popped right back out. Alright, so we'll just get the edge between these planks. The edging of this. Just needs a touch, not a lot. Maybe some of these bolts. No need for stressing. Magic time when I put things down, jam a finger in my shoulder, loosen that knot up, have a sip of tea, stretch out a bit. But this dude is coming right along. It's going to take me more than one night, I think, to rock this guy out. But I am much more comfortable painting Plague Marines than I was a few months ago. That's for sure. Like being able to just pick this guy up straight out the box, literally out the box, 50 minutes ago and start painting. It's like a revelation. All right. More bronze, more bronze, more bronze. Get a decent amount onto this wet palette. Oh, I just covered the thing. Poor brush. There we go. Oh man, I just covered that guy. One of these days I'll get better at that. Water. All right, so ball-headed mace thing. I'm gonna do bronze for the spikes. The other strip of edging that goes around, and then it'll be lead belcher on the inside. I also like the fact that Warplock bronze is like super ruddy, and lead belcher is just pretty much like clean metal, clean-ish metal. They go well together, so you can have like two different metallics working. You can metallics are better than one. So I tell people canonically. Base of that. Go. Just being patient. It's actually really hard for me to talk while I do that. It's like super scary. Oh, screw that up? Yeah, screw that up. I don't care. Screw everything up a little bit. It's not terminal, and it's going to get lead belcher over it. I just think it looks cooler with more than one metallic. It's funny, I've thought about doing some Adeptus Sororitas. And I was like, man, if I do some like sisters, they're getting more of this Warplock bronze. I think it's definitely like top 5 paint for me. I'm such a nerd for it. It looks cool. It's just a little different. Just like me. Alright, so the bands that hold that mace together are all done. That is good. I will hit some of the more machine-like stuff on this axe. So nothing on the blade. Though there is like a little bit. So weird, this thing. So chaotic. There's a cooling vent thing on the back of it somewhere. Oh, my arm's shaking. That's awesome. Let's rest up again. Coolant, radiator vent, something. You get bronze. You get bronze for sure, buddy. Bands around there, and I'll get this little piece of electrical circuitry business for my plague cleaver. All the way around that. Oh, shaky hands. We're getting there, buddy. You know, when you start talking to your own limbs, you're getting old. Upside down angle. There. Back there. All right. That appears to be almost enough bronze. Just get around these 2 bands that are on here, and we should be good. All right. So those bands are got. There's another band over here. It never ends. Anything that's spiky. It's close enough. All right. So I think move on to lead belcher. Yeah, why not? Why not? If I didn't have lead belcher out here either, it would truly be a testament to how little work I've done on my death guard lately. Let's see it. I see rune fang steel. It's not lead belcher. Almost out of it. Could be almost out of it. Over there. Astro granite. Let me check my other desk. Yep. Big oof. And if it's on my other desk, it means I haven't used it for quite some time. There we go. It is looking gross in there. Oh. All right, lead belcher is going to go on. Use my nice brush. I'm legit almost out of this stuff. Time to put in an order. Wipe this thing off. So he's got chainmail, which is neat. He's got a lot of little buckles and adornments, and he's got a lot of tubing, like rebreathery stuff, things like that. So all of that, I'm gonna get some lead belcher. I don't have to push this in like crazy, but also it's not just being dry brushed. Like some getting in there will be fine. This is gonna get a black wash. I'm not worried about losing all the detail of the rings. Anything that's deep will get darkened up nicely. So that chainmail is in reasonable shape. A little spot here. That's good. That stuff. He's got a gas grenade because he's a good soldier. Metal that up. Or it's a can of beans, something like that. Yeah, it's a can of beans. Right, that blade is exposed. It's not really in a sheath per se. So I'll obviously add corrosion to it later, but in the short term, get some metallics. Oh, stretch again. Stretchy, stretchy. Two grenades. Detail work back here, like this little turbine. You get in there, on the edge of it. Again, this stuff is going to get a black wash. Doesn't need to be, I don't need to press it into every crevice. Got a nice black primer coat, which helps. Whatever those trademark vents are and what they're for, I have no idea. Here. All the way around these pipes. So many little spots. I love these models. Absolutely love them. Constant state of discovering new bits and bobs and details. You do get your money's worth out of these death guard. Every little corner's a surprise. little bit of detail in terms of like connective bits. I always like to hit with a little bit of metallic stuff. Just need to get a couple little touches on there. It just helps break up all that green. That was kind of weak, but we're good. And when I realized that everything didn't have to be a complete brush stroke, I felt like I had sort of been doing it. Well, I had sort of been doing everything wrong for quite some time. There's plenty of things you just need to get in there and just tap a little bit. That's all it takes. Alrighty. Pretty good shape now. Pretty good shape. Right there, a couple taps right there. Bobble sticking out of there. Pretty good, pretty good. Oh, and then I have huge bladed weapons. That's right. Metal's good on big bladed weapons too, believe it or not. There's some amount of glop hanging off of this cleaver. I like to go over it in this lead belcher first, so that whatever I choose to put on there, be it blood for the blood god or anything glowy or shiny, having a metallic underneath it is actually pretty helpful in terms of making things pop out. Yeah, that way I can see in here a little bit better. And don't be mistaken, this guy is going to get tons of typhus corrosion on him. That is for sure. In the meantime, good lead belcher base goes a long way. Get the end knob of this thing. Edge. How does that blade look? It looks reasonably done. I will get the pommel of this, but the rest of those sections of this cleaver I'm going to do in wood color, probably dryad bark when I get to it. Pommel. Pommel will be lead belcher. All right. Just sort of peeking around. There's a couple little things on here, little geek-aws on the back, whirligigs, whatever I call them. Don't need a ton, just a couple little touches, and then it'll cure in. Little bolts here and there, just a tap. That was too much of a tap on one of them, but I'll live. Get the insides of these little gasamaholic things. There we go. So, last but not least, I've got this weapon. I've done all the connecty bits. All I gotta do is just go up to the edge. Yeah, just like that. Just up to the edge. Death card models don't have as many deep recessed edges as I've found, at least on their like manufactured bits, as some of the other orcs. Like orcs that just have crazy amount of depth where you can just kind of wet your paint down and just sort of splorch it in. It'll make its way all the way up to the edge. Death card has some pretty shallow stuff. Some of that's because things are organic. They don't lend themselves to big raised edges. Allow you to cheat a little bit. Not cheat, but have an easier time with. Some of it is just a different aesthetic. There we go. Right in that guy. That's close enough. That's going to be wood right there. So this section below that, spot of green that I missed. I think the last, like 8 times, and I think the last thing that I'm going to hit with lead belcher is a little bit of detail on the bags and such. And these have still not been browned up. I can just get a little bit of metallics on them. So it looks like they have little buckly bits or not. Yeah, there's a little section of that mace that I didn't do. Surprise, surprise. I whiffed that pretty badly. All right, yoink. A little dab of water. Just hit the undo button on that. There we go. Don't ever freak out. That is the main thing. Don't freak out. Just keep at it. Little changes and adjustments. You'll get there. Tongue. Some sort of chainy bit here. I can hit that. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Got a chain that holds it to his wrist. So many bits. So many bits and bobs. A couple pieces of hose that I missed. Good enough for government work for now. Let this guy dry a little bit, running into precarious spots that I really should avoid a little bit. Some Earl Grey. I think the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to wait a long time before I do the eyes. Just trying to think of whatever baseline stuff I can get knocked out. And I am probably going to pause pretty soon because there is an upper limit. The lighter brown first. This guy's running out of places that are dry enough for me to work around. The last thing I'll do is use some Mornfang brown. Wet palette, thin it out a little bit on some stuff like grip, that dagger, that plague dagger, and this leather bags, and this wood, and These things will get dry brushed and probably may even get a little bit of contrast over this. I got some darker contrast that would be good to fill in. Having a light brown as the base, I think is pretty good. And we got the bags on his backside. All I'm trying to do is not completely hit. Over it a little bit, absolutely fine. The little spots that I silvered in. Thankfully, they're silver. They will show through. You know what that is? Sure. Alrighty. Alrighty. That'll get a darker treatment over it, and then a little bit of dry brushing to bring out some texture. But I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. One more little piece of silver that I missed. At least that I see that I missed right now. This tubing. Arm. Such a weird dude. I love him. I love him. All right, so looking forward to next time. Most of his very simple baseline color stuff is done. Like white where it's supposed to be white, he's green where it's supposed to be green. He's got metallics on him. His blades are mostly filled in. Next time around, I'm going to add the next layer of green, which is this AK Slimy Grind Dark, to his green bits, and I've absolutely found, pardon my yawn, that stuff works much better the drier things are. It soaks in. It's very textural. I mean, it looks like that crap. Yeah, he's getting there. So I think one more session should probably do it. But he's got all kinds of bits in there, like the paper wrapped around these, that, purity stuff, the oaths, some tongues, eyes. He's got tongues and eyes and tentacles all over the place to still do. I've got to green up his grain. And then at that point, he'll mostly be washing. He's going to get a black wash on everything that's silver. Then I'll get some typhus corrosion. Get a little bit of corrosion on his chain back there. And as I always forget, his little strip of cloth. You can sort of see through there too. I'm going to hit that with a red at some point. But right now, he's sort of like, he's tacky enough in enough spots where I'm just going to let him sit overnight. And then in theory, if I'm on tomorrow, I should be able to just finish him up. He may have a couple little bits here and there, but I think I'll be in good shape. But my eyes are starting to fail me. It's been a long day. It's my first day back at work in like 11 days. Anyhow, thanks for joining me, Dane. Thanks for sending this guy. It was very, very nice of you. He's coming along well. He's proper stewardship. I'm taking good care of him. And next time, hopefully, we either finish him up or get really, really close. There's some dry brushing on here I definitely want to do as well on those bug pauldrons. Anywho, yeah, dang, he does look awesome. I will catch you next time. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.